Hey everyone, it's Konrad Bobilak here, author of Australian Property Finance Made Simple, and I wanted to spend a few minutes today just going through my YouTube channel and giving you a bit of background about myself and the kind of stuff you can expect on my YouTube channel, which is really exciting because it's something that I've been working on for a long time and it's something that I'm very passionate about. And also, if you're interested in investing in property and building large wealth through property in Australia specifically, you're going to find the information absolutely invaluable. So I want to give you a bit of background about myself first of all, and who I am, and also why you should listen to me, but also the kind of stuff you can expect to learn on this YouTube channel, which is also very important. So my background, I'm not going to bore you guys to death with my background, but I've got a lot of things that I've done over the years. I mean, from a qualified perspective, I guess, I've got a business degree at Monash University where I've wasted 3 years doing assignments with a bunch of people that I hated and spent 2 days drinking beer at the tavern and shooting pool. Anyway, I nearly did an MBA, more bad advised, but I decided to pull the pin and I wanted to get into the real world out there making money and actually start building wealth for myself. So along the way, I became a real estate agent. I had a mortgage broking company of 13 mortgage brokers. We were writing about $30 million worth of loans per month. And also, I have got a background in banking and finance, and I actually retired from working in one of the major banks in Australia as a financier. Specifically, I was setting up medical clinics and dental clinics in Melbourne. I've also got a diploma of financial planning, but all that stuff is not really that important. What is important that over the years, I've managed to build a multi-million-dollar property portfolio here in Melbourne that has enabled myself and my wife to have an extraordinary life. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about teaching people the methodology and the tools they need to use in order to replicate what I've done over the years. So this is the book that I mentioned before. So one of the most important things about building wealth through property is finance and how to structure your property portfolio correctly. And this is where I see a lot of investors getting into trouble where they buy properties in their own names and they do principal and interest loans. This book here, which you can get for $32.95, and I think you can get it on eBay for about $10, talks about the fact that most successful property investors in Australia who have substantial property portfolios buy properties through trusts and corporate trustees, and they structure them as standalone properties. They never cross-collateralize their assets, and they use different lenders. And also, they also use interest-only loans, which is kind of the opposite of what everyone does, which is quite interesting, isn't it? This is another book that I'm writing currently, which is just simply called Australian Real Estate Investing Made Simple, which will be out in 2018. And I'm going to go through a little bit about this book as well and some of the key elements that you can learn by reading this book. As you can see, I'm passionate about writing books, and look, the difference between you today and 3 years from now is the people that you meet and the books that you read. And I can really talk about, my success. A big chunk of my success is because of the amount of books that I used to read about investing in real estate and psychology. And I'm also writing a book called Australian Property Due Diligence Made Simple, which will be out in 2019, and The Real Estate Millionaire Mentor, which will be out in 2020, 2022. These books, by the way, when I'm writing these books, I'm interviewing a lot of successful property investors, and a lot of the interviews you're going to find on this YouTube channel and a lot of the methodology is basically chapters from these books that I'm writing and that I've written already, which is really cool. And look, all the information that you can expect from this YouTube channel will be completely unbiased. I don't have any vested interest in what the market's doing, which way it's heading, or which areas to target. So, I'm also Director of Investors Prime Real Estate, so I am a real estate agent in Victoria, which gives me a very practical, hands-on experience about the market. A lot of the commentary you're going to be seeing on this YouTube channel will be very kind of real practical information, and more importantly, it's stuff that's happening in the market right now. I'm not some guy from America that flies in and talks about theoretical booms and busts that are going to happen and flies back out. I'm actually in the market every day as an investor myself, and I'm a real estate agent, which means I've got, my ear to the ground, I've got my finger on the pulse. I know exactly what's happening in the market, on a daily basis in Australia. The reality is, if you look at investing in Victoria, or in Melbourne specifically, which is where I'm focused with my property portfolio, over the last 10 years, houses in Melbourne have gone up by 85%, and apartments by 60%. You know, we're probably the best market in Australia. The interesting thing is, however, that if we look at the ATO stats, very few investors actually exist in Australia. This is one of the misconceptions out there. There's all these people with all these properties. If you look at the whole market, it's worth about $7 trillion, and virtually 20% of the market is owned by investors. The remainder of the market is driven by owner-occupiers. If you take that 20% of landlords or property investors, 72.8% only have one property. So most of them have a house and just own one investment property. I wouldn't really call that an investor. It's just someone that bought something around the corner where they live. You know, if you look at investors with two properties, it's just 18%. 3, 5.5, 4 is 2%. 0.8% of all property investors have 5 properties, and 6 or more, which is my definition of a property investor, only represents less than 1% of the total pool of investors in Australia. So what I've been doing for the last 15, 20 years is I've been obsessed with this number, and I've been obsessed with finding out what are these guys doing that's different from these guys. Because let me tell you something, income has nothing to do with it. It's all to do with psychology, having a system, and having the right methodology and implementation. And this is exactly what I'm teaching on this YouTube channel, how you can go from being an investor with one property and right down to someone that owns 6 or more properties. And the reality is that, you know, why is it that so few people actually succeed in real estate investing, given that it's such a lucrative market? Well, the reality is that most people have a buy, hold, and pray investment strategy. They buy something within 3 to 5 Ks of where they live because it's their comfort zone, and they pray to God, God, please let this property go up in value. You know, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. This YouTube channel will teach you how to identify the best suburbs and the best areas to invest in right now in the current market. Because the reality is, if you take Melbourne, out of the 390 suburbs in Melbourne over the last 10 years, 192 haven't doubled in terms of median price appreciation. Only half of our suburbs, 198, have doubled in value in the last 10 years for detached houses. For apartments, only 48 suburbs out of the 270 suburbs we can build apartments in Melbourne, only 48 suburbs, apartments have doubled in median prices. So the reality is, just because you're investing in Melbourne, which is probably the best market in Australia to invest in, and that's obviously arguable, it's not a guaranteed method of making money. You can still lose money in Melbourne, and I see that every day. People buy the wrong type of property in the wrong type of area, they overcapitalise on renovations, they miss the market, and after taking into account agents' fees, commissions, capital gain tax, holding costs, most people sell the first property within the first 5 or 7 years, and they actually lose money. And that's the harsh reality of investing. So what this YouTube channel is designed to do is teach you guys how to focus on these top suburbs for apartments and for detached houses and townhouses, how to identify them, and how to safely structure and buy and build your property portfolio. And the thing is, you know, there's 4 things that I talk about, you know, if you look at the ingredients of what it takes to become successful in real estate investing, I can break it down into 4 key ingredients. Number 1 is you've got to have the right psychology and the right mindset. Okay, without that, there is virtually no implementation of anything. Number 2, you definitely have to have the right plan and system. And you've already would have seen a lot of YouTube videos that are uploaded already on my channel talking about how you can retire with 10 properties in 10 years, or how to buy 12 properties over 10 years, sell 7, pay capital gain tax, and pay off the other 5 and live off passive income. So having the right plan and system is very important for you as the individual, because every individual out there has a different risk profile, different objectives, and different amount of time they've got left to invest. You also have to have the right team of experts around you. And this is something that I talk about extensively in some of my videos. And you're going to see a lot of videos uploaded in the future talking about how you can start, you know, getting your team together of experts. And I'm talking about here your mortgage broker, your accountant, your solicitor, you know, these people who will help you and propel you to the next level when it comes to real estate investing. And finally, and this is probably my favorite part, and this is probably something that I'm really good at doing, is property selection methodology, understanding how to discover and uncover the best performing properties in the best suburbs in terms of capital gain perspective. And that's something that I'm very passionate about, and this is something that I've been doing for a long time now, and you're going to see a lot of YouTube videos just focusing on identifying the best growth areas in Melbourne and how to objectively identify them and how to take advantage of them. So really, the definition of success when it comes to property investing is when you synchronize these 4 ingredients together. Just like baking a cake, there's a recipe for success. You've got to have the right psychology, the right plan, the right experts, and the right property selection methodology. Put them all together in the right way, in the right order. That's a very definition of success. And this is exactly what I've done with this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is specifically designed to teach investors these 4 aspects of what it takes to become successful in property investing. So really, and the objective is for you guys to buy 10 properties over 10 years and how to structure your property portfolio correctly. How do I know this? Because I've done it myself. And that's one of the key fundamentals. Only listen to people that have achieved exactly what you want to achieve in order to get the same result, if you want to achieve that particular thing. So that's about it from me. If you're interested in learning more, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you on the inside. This is Konrad Bobilak. Catch you later.